So, let's talk about Gravity Falls last night. So, yeah, now that we're going to talk about Gravity Falls, I was so shocked. I was so amazed at how well they could actually go through all their foreshadowing, all their riffs, and I also noticed a key thing about this season, comparing the current Mystery Twins to the old Mystery Twins, which I thought was interesting. That, how do I put this? The main problem between the two twins is the lack of communication and the fact that they seem so dependent on one another. One set has not fully thought about being without the other. In this case, Mabel and Stan have never actually been good at thinking about the future. They live in the moment, as compared to somewhat Ford and a lot of Dipper. They actually think about their futures, which is very interesting. Now, here's the thing, because they're always living in the moment, they haven't really thought about the consequences of their actions. Like for Mabel, the thing is, you randomly gave a rift in your brother's bag without knowing what it was to Blendon, not questioning how in the world he found you or why he knows about your entire situation, just to have an eternal summer. That is a terrible idea. Nobody would age. How would you connect with the world around you? Would you possibly be like Ford and have your parents and family die around you and you never get to see them? What were you thinking, girl? In fact, if you and Dipper had just talked about this all the way through, instead of you running off, and in fact both of them ran off towards their same goals, if they had just talked this out, this entire situation would not have escalated. Furthermore, with Dipper's side, he really should not have jumped at the chance of what Ford was telling him, at least without talking to his sister, which he tried to do before she angrily cut him off. And even then, if you talk to his parents, they won't know who they're talking to at all. They don't know what Ford sounds like in the 30 years he's been missing. They just know what Grunkle Stan says, and he's not going to be living with them, since Ford said that he's going to be kicking him out of his house with nowhere else to go at the end of the summer. So that's a big plot hole that Ford hasn't really thought out. Now, what's interesting is that the person who has the worst amount of communication skills is Ford out of the old Mystery Twins, but then it's Mabel, the character Mabel, who has the most amount of communication skills, making friendships instead of, well, actually sustaining them relationships, once again, only living in the moment. Furthermore, just because she makes a pen pal at the door in like 30 seconds doesn't always mean she's gonna react to someone actually leaving her just as well. After all, look at all of her summer romances, which I have vaguely assumed that, according to her reaction to the fact that high school, yes, can be difficult, but it's not always going to suck. It depends on how you take it in stride. And if you have friends with you, and not just your brother, but learning how to be emotionally mature about it, it can be a very fun time. Wendy. But the thing is, what she hasn't thought about is actually confronting the problem. Like, all throughout the summer, she has learned to mature about what actually love is and not to actually force it, like she did with all of her crushes, and also Grinda and Dipper. She tried to force without knowing his consent, and he was only being a different person because he was with Stan. She does not look at the whole picture. She just looks at the fun side of things, which is also why we have this apocalypse coming down on Gravity Falls. At least with Stan, did warn both of them, saying that their brother was a dangerous know-it-all and a lot of his things were dangerous. She is the one who least listened to that, as it turns out, because she just willingly gave away something she had no knowledge of. But, on the other hand, if Ford had told her, or at least let her in on the secret instead of just trusting a younger version of himself, I feel like both Mystery Twins knowing would have actually helped it a lot. Because Ford has never been good with communicating. At least when he was given the chance to leave Stan was actually happy, and he never intentionally tried to stand in front of his happiness. What brought him down was just an accident that may or may not have been his fault. Now, to be fair, his machine was still running when Stan left. It was still running. Remember that. It probably broke down during the night. Now, what Ford is bad about is that he has never really talked to anybody else besides his money-grubbing parents about the experience, and he just went with the flow. If they just talked things through, like on the swing set, they were actually happy for each other. Instead, we have 30 years later this giant blow up, which includes him punching his brother in the face after he just saved him from certain death. Of course, that also gave a little rift, but it was contained up until Mabel got it. And they were actually trying to remedy the situation. I can actually foresee another giant fight between Mabel and Dipper just because of this, along with her bullying tendencies, because she has never said she was sorry about anything that she's done. Which is a little disturbing. I mean, I don't have siblings, but the fact that she kind of lives in this fantasy land where everything gets immediately patched up and is okay. This is also about her. She and Dipper both maturing. See you guys next time. Bye.
Gotta backtrack you there. You mistakenly said Dipper and Grenda. You should have said Dipper and Candy. Grenda is the one who already has a boyfriend with the Duke Prince thingy.
Thank you, Team Continuity. Do you have any other contributions to this argument?
Yeah. Don't hate on Mabel. Okay, Mabel is perfect in every way. And all siblings have fights like this. All of them. And Dippers need to stop being a wuss.
Okay, I don't think that's relevant to this argument, and he's not being a wuss. There is obviously some scarring here.
I don't care. Shut up.